Hi, everyone. I'm going to stop for a second and say happy Thursday. It's definitely Thursday. It's one of those weeks where the week just seems to have zipped on by with the results that I never really quite sure what time it is. It's been a great week for planning and organizing, and we've got quite a few things happening both right now in the summer. I thought it was going to be a bit quieter, but because there's staggered holidays for everyone right now. It basically means that we're doing a lot of forward planning to make sure that when people are off on holidays, we're really off. Hi, everyone. Lovely to see you, Liz. And Audrey's popped in, and Fiona. Lovely to see you all. If I know that it's like there's a lot of us have got finished off the Torc knit along, but if you do have any questions about it, just pop them in here. I'm happy to answer. Just put them into the chat there. I hope you're all having a great day today, and that if you're in Ireland, the slightly warmer weather feels really nice. It feels like summer has come at last. Still a cold wind, but it's actually summery. And I do have the Torc both over there and here with me here, because our Torc knit along, we're winding it up today, or at least the more active part of it. And we have picked the final winner, Uta. I don't think she's been online yet today, but there'll be surprises for when she gets to come in. She has won our €50 gift voucher. The Torc version she did was the short-sleeved one with, I think it's in BioBalance, or at least that's what it looks like, and it's really beautiful. But every single one of the knit along pieces that came along are just phenomenal. Like Liz, you are just amazing. Liz has done three different ones, and each one is more beautiful than the other. There's one version on there where it's being done out of stash with different colors, with each section different color, which is really cool. And I would never have occurred to me, but it makes a great use of stash yarn, because of course each of these sections is effectively, you can make a stripe, you can make something separate out of it, so it is possible that you can do each of those in a separate color. So that's a really good idea. And as we were kind of saying, going through each of these sections here as well, they're all interchangeable, so you can actually move one up, start another one down, start in this one, start in these ones, and then just keep the rhythm of it going through. So it's quite interchangeable without making a really big difference in the overall garment. Hey Marjorie, nice to see you. Kathleen from Alabama. Fiona, you're still going, no questions, just working away. Excellent. And that's the whole thing, is that while the more formal knit along is over, we know that everybody knits at their own pace. Particularly when it comes into the summer, frequently people will start slowing down because you're spending maybe time outside gardening, or more time with family, or traveling, or whatever it might be. Or in my case, what often happens with garments is I'll be knitting along, and then I reach a point where I've got several garments where the yoke's done, and if it's top down, and I've got the bottom part of the body. So it's a huge, big bundle of knitting, which is fine if I'm at home or if I'm taking the car. But if I need to travel, they're the projects that end up kind of getting set aside, because it's almost like an extra bag just to take those partially finished sweaters along with me. So one downside to top down, if you've reached the point where you basically are on the body, it's easy knitting, but just a lot of volume to travel with you. We're going to still be popping in and out, and anyone who's finished it before will still be getting the messages, so we can kind of jump in and help out as well as they're going through. Lindsay, you pulled off the road in the mountains of Virginia to tune in. Well, I hope it is worthwhile. Do give me a shout to let me know if there's anything else you'd like to hear about as we're going through. The other thing that some of you may have spotted is we have a solstice or midsummer sale that started today for the next 6 days. So with code Solstice15, you're able to get 15% off on our website. We've actually also extended a little bit further. So if you're on Teachable and you're just getting the workshops in there, you can use the same code. If you're in Ravelry and you just want to get your patterns in the Ravelry library, the code is also going to be active there. So I've actually, it's one of the few times I'm able to put it at all the places because it is a blanket code as opposed to specific. So I've put it in across the board in all of the digital spaces as well as in the physical spaces. So you can get yourself stocked up for the summer before travels, or maybe you're planning for your autumn knitting at this point and you're just going to take advantage of it. But yeah, enjoy that. And you may also want to take a peek in at the sale section. There's a few yarns where they're kind of the tail ends of yarns we're doing, or particular colors are kind of discontinuing. Some of them, I've got a few of them here. Sometimes they were from kind of past mystery shawl knit-alongs. Other times they were from seasons where we over-ordered particular colors and things like that. And they have all been put into the sale section as well. So this is one of them from last year. There's the Kremka Sole alpaca. So there's a little bit of those on the website where they're in the sale section. So there's a discount on them, and then you can use the second discount on it. So a lot of discount. And another Kremka alpaca one here again for last Christmas with a little bit extra. There's not a huge amount of this, but there's a little bit of that. And this is the Edelweiss alpaca sock. So this one, it's alpaca, wool, and a little bit of nylon. One of the ones that we're also got on sale is the Ito Sensei. So this is mohair and silk, and they're actually, it's very nice if you want to hold it along with things. Like we did one version of the Isker about this, and Laura, in fact, at the moment is using the minty version of this, and she's making what I'm wearing here, the Stash Dive, the top down one, which I will come and talk to you about in a little bit. But yeah, this, if you want to do it in a very, very lightweight open one, does a really nice version of that. Pat, hi from hot Southern Ontario. Yeah, while it's warming up here, it is not hot. It's like in Celsius, we're maybe getting close to 20 degrees. So yeah, it's with the cool winds, but it's sunny and we'll take that. Just any bit of sunshine is always appreciated. Joanne from Jacksonville, Florida, you have the button band left. Not too bad for a newbie. Absolutely not. Newbie or otherwise, that is great going. I mean, I will tell you all now that you guys knit faster than I do, that when I'm doing the sample, I tend to jump around between things. So I'll do a little bit of this in a video. I'll move over here and do something else. And then I watch you guys going through the knit along. You're superstars. You just kind of fly through. I'm impressed by all of you. Because I tend to have a lot going on, and so I do a small chunk at a time, so it feels like it takes a long time to do. I am starting on, like, I've got way too many things on my needles at the moment. So I've got, first of all, the autumn knit along, and that one seems to have grown legs again because I've got one particular idea that I felt like could be modified in a few different ways. So I'm going to do at least 2 versions, possibly a third one while it's going through. So I feel like this last year has been the year of mods, of adding things in, figuring out stuff that's going to work well with other stuff. So the autumn knit along is going to be completely in that direction. And 2 of the versions, I think I need to knit through because it changes the shoulders a little bit. I'm not going to give too much away, but I am very excited about it. Next one is the iced cardigan, a jazz version, but putting in a load of mods, changing the yoke construction, changing the front. Same basic shape and idea, but really perfecting it because it's one of those cardigans. I designed it, I think, down in 2011 or maybe even earlier. It might be. It was like right at the start of my knitting career. So I feel like I still like the design. I still like the basic shape, but there's a few things that I would like to change. So it's really nice to revisit that and pull that out. And then, of course, the last one is the Stash Dive sweater. So before I start into that, I'm going to kind of have a pop through, make sure that I haven't missed anything. Pat, your connection is wobbly. Oh, I'm sorry. It will be recorded. So if you've missed anything, you'll be able to jump back in afterwards and just watch the recording. So hopefully that will help a little bit. Liz, you're looking forward to the Stash Dive, the project. You have a few ideas. Fantastic. So I'm going to go back and give you a little history of the Stash Dive. So the sweater I'm wearing, I'm going to stand up here a little bit. See, it's a short one, is a Stash Dive sweater. And that came about It was kind of midway through the first year when we were all in lockdown here in Ireland, and I had an awful lot of stash, but it was particularly single colors of kind of similar weight yarns that I really liked together, but they didn't match. So I was trying to figure out how I could go and actually do something that I could just start knitting straight away and just keep tweaking as I went along. But I wanted to make it a bit more open. So I ended up doing what we called the Stash Dive Knit Along at the time. I did it on YouTube as a series of premieres where they were pre-recorded videos, but I launched them as a premiere, so everyone knew it was there at the same time. And then I was able to be available in the chat. So as people are watching through the techniques, they can ask me questions. So if something comes up, I don't know what you're doing, explain that, I can actually kind of explain in the chat. So it worked out a nice combination because it meant I could make it a little bit later in the evening without having to sit live, because I run out of steam. I'm not great in terms of live video once it gets too late in the day for me. So the pre-recorded ones means that I can do the launches later, but I can still have a little bit of interaction and chat. So that was where that all came about. That all then, it's still on YouTube, but we also put it in to Teachable. So we've put the whole thing in together as a class in Teachable with those original videos, the just the notes and what I was doing written into it as a workshop as you go through. It's not an exact pattern. It's really a formula or just what I did and the thought process I went through. But I wanted to kind of do the same thing this summer because I've had some Antigone, this is coming apart, Antigone linen yarn sitting in my stash for like forever. The tail ends of a few ones that we were swatching with, things like this. And then I went and pulled a couple of new ones out of the shop, and I love linen for the summer. And so I said, I don't really want to design anything. I just want something I can wear. And that was kind of threw me back into the stash dive. I'm like, well, why don't I take that out again? And then it grew legs. And I started thinking, well, why not actually go ahead and open it up to all of you, and you can do it with me. So they're fairly straightforward videos. I'm going to have about 5. I'm going through my decision-making process, the gauge I get, and all of that. And then working my way through to just doing the back, doing the front, and doing the body and doing the sleeve. So over 5 weeks, I'm just going to go through each of those sections, and we'll put them up same as last time as a premiere, where you'll know the time it's coming out. I'll be here in the chat where if you've got any questions, you can ask me about them. But I'm suggesting that you should get the Teachable Stash Dive workshop at the same time, so you can see what happened originally, and you get a little bit more in-depth information to go along with the version that I'm doing right now, which is going to be in a summer weight yarn, and same kind of thing. Me talking through variations and decisions, differences I'm going to make with the neck, my decision process on kind of what I'm doing for the bottom of the body and how long it might be. I've got a second color. I'm going to try and figure out if I'm going to blend that in. It's similar to this, just kind of a fade effect again. So all of those things are going to be what I'm kind of working through, and you get to kind of sit through with me as I'm doing it as well. Audrey, you're saying you learned so much about how to fit your sweater from the Stash Dive sweater. That's really great to hear. And that's kind of what I was hoping with it, is that it's much more loose in the format, because you're not trying to match a gauge. You knit a swatch and the only criteria is that you like the fabric that you get. That's the only criteria. Then once you like that, and when it's blocked, you measure it, and then all the rest of the calculations comes from that. So that's the basis of the whole thing. And I think it really helps to it flips the whole thing on its head, because normally you're swatching and you're trying to match the gauge of what I've done in my pattern. And it means that often the actual fabric and what it looks like is it coming up behind in terms of a second consideration. So this time around, it means that you get to decide on the fabric, and that's what's most important. And so it's like it's putting you in the designer's seat, but hopefully with enough tools and ability to calculate it that you can see how you go about actually making this your own. It is a very straightforward shape. I'll show you what I've done so far. Oh, I've just joined it. So this is the linen version that I've done. This is this is the front of it here. So you can see again, it's quite wide. I've brought the neck up a little bit this time round, but it's going to be, I think, really nice to wear once it's actually done. So I'm hoping to get it done by the time I go away for my holidays in August. I think that's totally doable. But maybe that's why I've insisted on doing the videos, because by doing videos while I'm doing it and setting a deadline, it means that I'm like, oh, have to do it for the videos. And as a nice byproduct, I get to have a top that I can wear. Elsa Louise, you were asking for yarn suggestions for siesta top. If I remember correctly, that one was originally in kind of a bamboo mix, probably like a sports DK weight, something like that. I wonder if the Soul yarn, the one that was originally used from, I think it was last summer, Pascali, so it was mainly cotton with a little bit of cashmere in it. That might be a close one, and that I think could be very nice with it. You could also go with cotton, but I think the Soul might make for a kind of a more luxurious top for that. And that's probably the one that kind of jumps to mind, particularly if you want to go for something a little bit more of a lighter weight summer yarn. Liz, you have a linen stash dive. Do you have enough? And well, the big thing with the linen as well, Liz, is if you've got leftovers in different colors, the original version, because I did a fade with it moving through, you might be able to find that you've got most of it, that you've got a few colors that you like the way they look, and then just top it up with like 1 or 2 extra balls for larger blocks. Because that's kind of what I did. I had a little bit of the same color that you're doing, that dark gray color that we did the summer drops in last summer. So I'm going to use that for the bottom of it, but then I took just 2 extra balls for the green to do most of it. So as I'm going through the body, I think I'll introduce just a little bit of a fade so that I can blend that out and then do the same thing possibly on the sleeves. But it's one of those ones where I'm kind of sitting to wait and see how it's going to work out as I'm progressing. But yeah, because I've got about half the decisions made, and the rest of them I'm actually deliberately saying I'm going to just hold off because I want to keep trying it on so that I can kind of process it as I go through. Elsa Louise, yarn suggestions for Nuri. That's actually particularly hard. Nuri, if anyone has knitted before, that one is in an Aran weight linen. And the reason, normally that's going to be a little bit heavy, a little bit dense. Reason it worked for that is because it's a chain knit construction, so it kind of mixed the two. So I've got 2 different ones. The very original version was with Quince & Co, one of their heavier linen blends, and I don't remember the name of the one. The second version I did, which would be a European yarn. I think it might be a Lang brand over in Ireland. Another option you could do is actually get something like, I'm wondering, you might possibly be able to take Antigone and do a two strands together, or something else that could work is if you've got some of the Ito ones, which are a little finer, but some of them be cotton and linens, 2-ply of those together being worked together, I think could actually be very nice combinations as well. But it was a very, very specific yarn and quite hard to find a substitute. But basically it was linen, Aran weight, but a chain neck construction, which means that it was bigger stitches, but a lot of air trapped in the actual yarn itself to counteract the fact that linen can be quite heavy. I'm just checking the other questions here. I had a list of various different things to make sure I said. And one of them, actually, I was just kind of curious as to what your summer plans are. What do all of you intend on doing over the summer? Do you think does the stash dive sound like something you'd like to jump in with? Is there a yarn or a little family of yarns that you have that you think could work well with it? Just kind of pop it up here. We've also got in Knit Hub, there is a stash dive thread in there, so you can jump in onto the teachable workshops and actually just kind of chat with other knitters who are thinking about doing it. So it's going to be particularly useful for that, because at this early stage, the first thing you want to do is swatch. So you can get started swatching and compare and kind of ask people for opinions in terms of what they think works well, and even yarn combinations, kind of trying to figure out what colors are going to go well if you've got kind of different combinations together. Oh, thank you, Liz. Liz said that she did the Nuri in Gilliatt. So there you go. I had in my head, I'm kind of thinking about it, the same type of yarn, which is a linen. But if you wanted to do a woolier version, Juliet is an option there. That's fantastic. I completely forgotten that, Liz, that you did that. Juliet is actually a funny yarn because when you pick it up in terms of the yardage, it seems like it should be kind of a worsted weight yarn, but it leans more into Aran or even a heavy Aran. It's really happy to be knit a little bit more loosely because the stitches it's just really bouncy fat yarn, so it can definitely be knit loosely. Is there no other questions there? So yeah, so let me know what you're doing. Hop into Knit Hub and kind of just, yeah, in terms of what you're actually planning for the summer, or if you're going to join the stash dive. We are going to become a little quieter a lot around here, as I was saying, that we're going to have, this is going to be the last live we have till I come back after the holidays. So we're going to basically we've got like staggered holidays. We've got Laura's already taken her holidays, Nadia will be going off, and then Hannah, and then I'm going. So it'll be one after each other. So we'll be doing lots of forward planning in the next few weeks. Liz, you think you'll bring your stash dive and holidays? That's a really good idea, because once you've got your initial numbers done, if you've got like some barber cord and you can try it on, you can kind of wing it and play it by ear or by eye, I suppose, really, as you're going through. And it makes it a very relaxing project. So it's kind of more of I think of it as a creative project, more so than anything else when you're working on a stash dive. As Louise was asking if Liz had any pictures. I'm sure there is actually somewhere on Knit Hub. I remember seeing it pop up. Yeah, so I will leave that between the two of you because I don't have any right now actively with me. When is the last pattern of the Celtic Knit Club coming out? That's going to be very soon. It's very soon in my head, because right now I'm assuming that we're already in July. It's going to be in mid-July, and it'll be the same week. I'm going to look at my calendar to make sure that I don't lie to any of you. So we have the Celtic Knits Club is going to go live on, I think it's the 18th is what it's looking like. Nope, it's the 16th of July. And the summer pattern releases are the end of that week on the 19th. So that's going to be on, the 16th of July is when they're going to come out. So we'll have the pattern from Laura and the sweater from me, which I realize that you can see the corner of it folded up over here, but like unless you zoom in very far, you're not going to see too much. Mr. Gyada, you'll be close to home in Colorado, a little road trip, but only a week to see grandkids in Minnesota. You'll be enjoying lots of knitting. Life is lazy till the end of September. Oh, that sounds nice. I had assumed the summer was going to be quieter, but because we're doing a lot of forward planning right now, we haven't quite slowed down yet. But I think in the next week or two, we will start getting into a little bit more of a slowdown. It's more forward planning stage now, and delivering the last of all of the projects that we had going. Faith, you stash dive sounds fun. You've got leftover biobalance and you were thinking of doing a scarf or a wrap with the Torc motifs. Oh, that would be lovely. Yeah, that would actually be really, really nice. If you did want to do another sweater, you could also even introduce it into this as well, just doing it in rounds combined with stockinette stitch. Audrey, you're traveling to Canada and you're going to be taking the blanket club with you. I think the blanket club ones are really nice for traveling because they're small, you can finish them, you can set aside, because that is, to me, it's the biggest problem with bigger projects during the summer is if you're traveling, and particularly if you're in Europe, everything's pretty much carry on for the most part. It's kind of leaning in that direction. So you want to minimize the volume of stuff. So things that are low volume, but you don't have to concentrate on, is that like sweet spot I find for summer traveling. Yep, I think I have popped in all of the answers along there. Have a great summer and come into Knit Hub. We will be around, whether it's me or other people. And in the meantime, make sure you jump in. The first of the lives are the premieres that we're going to be doing for this will be July the 10th, Wednesday, and it's going to be later at 7 o'clock. So that will be the first one will come up. Like usual, we'll put it up a little earlier and you'll be able to pop the notify me button. If you're a subscriber, you'll also get the notification. But it will be the Wednesday, the 10th of July will be the first one out. You're working Mystic Yada. You're working on your blanket club and socks. Very portable. Sounds absolutely perfect. Sock project has to go in every travel bag. All right, I'm going to say goodbye to you all and have a great summer, everyone.